I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. Tonight we are excited. The stars and cars of the TNT Shock Series are returning to the airwaves. I was on vacation a week ago, so we missed round number one. We'll talk about that in just a minute. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Joined in the booth by Kylo Ciacelli, my color commentator from last year. We're going to let Patrick Byrd hang out with us potentially for a portion of the night tonight. We'll see how hard the gin's going to him at some point, but looking for...
I'll be around the full night, don't worry.
Looking forward to this one. Man, James Watson picking up the win 1 week ago at the Iowa Speedway over Alex Teeter. Stephen Thompson, Jason Owens, Dave Sparks rounding out the top five in that one. Practice is done. West Shire is going to be your quickest at a 16:164. I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to that in qualifying here, Kylo. And the reason I say that is it seemed like the best laps were coming in a little bit deeper into the run.
Yeah, it definitely takes about 5 laps or so for the tires to come in and actually get a decent lap in. We'll see who's going to be the quickest this week. We're going to have a new pole sitter. Last week's pole sitter, ding ding, ring-a-ling, myself, I lasted a whole 1 lap before we were wrecked out and the entire field with it. So we'll see who comes out on top in this qualifying session.
Well, that's something to talk about here, Patrick, because there's no do-overs here. No backup cars, no gimmies, none of that stuff. You really got to be on your game here as we're following along with Jason Miller.
And as someone who did some testing at New Smyrna a couple years ago now with West Shire, this track is tough in these cars. One misstep, you're around banging that rear spoiler into the wall. You push it a little too hard, you'll bang the front spoiler into the wall, and you'll bend some of the axles, and you'll ruin your night pretty quickly here just by sneezing. Just like that.
There you go. And that's your quick man, Alex Teeter. Slides it around, nice save, doesn't hit anything. He was quick timer at a 16:438. New quick time, Brian Lamarge getting his car to the top of the board at a 16:411 in car number 8. We'll pick up J.W. Miller, one of the Team Watson Racing Armada running here this evening. New quick time, hold up, West Shire. He is hauling the mail, 16:38 with a 0. 16.380. Lap number 2 is just a tick slower to 16.434. Andrew Berry out on the race course. I believe defending champion of the series. I'll have to look it up. I did my research heading into tonight. Berry's lap number 1 at a 16.463 is only 0.08 of a second off. Lap number 2 will be second quick. 1/100th of a second off of West Shire's lap time. Good Lord. Picking up now the 25 of Rick Cleary. Does not get a lap on the board as we are halfway through the qualifying session. 2.5 down, 2.5 left to go. So Rick Cleary going to be starting from the back of the field here this evening. Waiting to see Ben Carswell and Zach Nurenberger if they're going to get out onto the racetrack. You will see Kylo's name up on your timing and scoring screens, at least possibly. Obviously, Kylo turning some laps earlier tonight. Talk us through what these drivers were feeling. I heard everything from 0.5 to 1% tire wear per lap. That's kind of insane if you're going to try to make this a two-stop race.
Yeah, the tire wear is pretty bad here, and it can be in two different ends of the car as well, depending on how you drive it. If overdriving on exit, wear out the rears really quickly, and then if you try and huck it in the corner with too much speed, you're going to understeer wide, and you're going to push that right front a little bit. So it's a real balancing act of making sure you're quick but consistent on the tires.
Ben Carswell running an Al Unser Jr. themed helmet and a Pizza at the Pagoda livery. Not a bad-looking race car there. We'll be bringing Pizza at the Pagoda back next season with a little bit different format. I'm looking forward. In fact, our co-hosts don't even know what's coming for that show yet. But it's going to be good, I think. Carswell going to be 11th quick at a 16.608. The only car left looks like it could be Zach Nurenberger's. We're down to the final 60 seconds of qualifications. I am absolutely floored here, Kylo, because we're going from West Shire at a 16:38. If we want to find a quarter second, we have to go all the way back to 12th place Jason Owens. When's the last time Jason Owens was 12th quick and untalked about in qualifying?
Jason's a little bit further back than normally. But here's the other thing. James Watson, winner from week 1, right behind him there in P13. So just shows how close everybody is here and how shuffled up the grid can be. Passing is going to be difficult, though, so we'll see how this shakes up early on.
Yeah, that's one here, Patrick, that the outside lane, you can probably try to make it work in these cars, but
I don't know if I'd want to.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So on edge.
Well,
yeah.
From practice, it was mostly you have to commit to the inside and try to really huck it into the corner, and hopefully the guy on top gives you enough room. The exit is really important going down the straights. Very short straightaways, but getting on the gas early is really important, and you compromise that when you're on the inside.
Well, let's take a look here at the starting grid for tonight. We'll give you the look from the blimp in the overhead shot here. 19 cars on the entry list for this one. They will be led to the green by West Shire at a lap time of 16.381 seconds out of the state of New York. Andrew Berry going to line up alongside. These two duked it out all of last season. I kind of think they're going to start doing it again at 9 1/1000ths back. They may be running the same setup both in qualifying and in the race. That'll be one to keep an eye out on as well. Brian Labarge and Alex Teeter are going to make up row number 2. Nick Camargo and Jason Miller on row 3. Couple of good laps there from Camargo and Miller. Mike Long and J.W. Miller on row number 4. Stephen C. Thompson and Jason Padu on row number 5. Shadow Jesus, Ben Carswell, and Jason Owens are going to occupy row number 6 for tonight's feature event. Row number 7 going to have James Watson and Jacob Jans. Row number 8, Peter Donchak and Dave Sparks, still only less than a half second separating your top 16. 17th is going to be Simon Fell and Rick Cleary, who will slide up one with Kylo not being out on the grid. Zachary Nurenberger going to be all alone in row number 10. 19 cars on the entry list for tonight's race. 50 minutes will be the distance. They're going to roll off here in the next 10 seconds or so. Kylo, I'll come to you first. What do you think we're going to see here tonight? Somebody asked, could this race go caution-free? I think the answer is probably not.
No, I don't think so. These guys have done it before. They've gone caution-free, but very, very difficult to do. The pit entry and exit is very tricky, very tight, narrow, with grass on the inside and the racing line right above it. So if we don't see an incident, it'll be a thing of beauty, really, if they get through that.
I don't think we can get a caution-free race with go-karts at this track.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. This place, it's just so tricky. The bumps are really treacherous. It's going to be wild, that's for sure. Field's going to come around and get the one-to-go signal. There you see Wes Shire and Andrew Barry on the front row for this one. Round number 2 of the TNT Shock Series. Drivers do get 2 drop weeks. A lot of guys may not own this racetrack, so this sounds like this could be one of the 2 that they're going to take over the course of the season. We'll see. I'll have to take a look at we'll kind of go through the rest of the schedule here, but taking a look at the point standings, James Watson is going to be your leader, but as the field comes off at turn number 4, the start of this one, fans, going to be all yours. Lap number 1 very quickly in the books, and it will belong to Wes Shire, Andrew Barry, Brian Labarge, Alex Teeter going to make up your top 4. 1 lap in under green. That's sometimes the toughest one to get in. A little bit further back in the pack here, Jason Owens going to be battling with Stephen C. Thompson down to the inside.
Yeah, top 2 breaking away here. Wes Shire and Andrew Barry quickly running away with it.
Oh, 1 car going around down the back straightaway. That's going to put us under caution. And, let's see, Alex Teeter possibly.
One slides right into him.
Alex Teeter slides up into the outside retaining wall in turn number 4. Looks like it's also going to be Zach Nurenberger getting involved in that one. Also had another car having an issue there as well. Trouble for Peter Donchak, it looked like, in the 13. See what happened here. May just be a case of cold tires getting the best of them here off of turn number 2. Yeah, you can see the back.
Yeah, just nothing there. A little bit lower than on the normal line there that you want to be taking. Probably want to be about half a car length above that on the groove. And, yeah, cold tires, and it goes around.
That livery, however, is fantastic. I would almost call it Teo Fabulous.
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, man, Alex Teeter did basically the same thing. He's up against the outside wall. Oh, Zach Nurenberger absolutely drills him. That's going to likely be the end of the night for Alex Teeter. I would think so anyway, as we get a look at the 17 there on pit road. Yeah, the whole left side of that car is sheared off.
1 tire gone equals your race over. Surprisingly, though, these cars are pretty resistant. We might see some contact on the outside wall coming out of the exit of these corners if we get a few laps going. And these chassis, these PM18 chassis, pretty resistant to that pancake against the wall. So we can expect some sparks later.
Yeah, that was something actually we talked about last season, Kylo, was the fact that you could, if you hit it square, you hit both the right front and right rear kind of together, just kind of did that little pancake kiss, you could get away with that. If you got it a little bit off center, it was probably going to end your night, though.
Don't count on it, but it is there.
Something else we learned in Oval Week at Motegi, if you square them up right, you can bump draft somebody. If you can bump draft somebody, then that means the bump and run is also fully into play here. What are you thinking, Patrick? Could we see some shenanigans late in this race?
As someone who used to drive this car and used to be not half bad at it, the bump and run is 100% possible with these things. It works, you just got to square it up just right. If you're off by a little bit, you'll either damage your own car or you'll wreck the guy in front of you, and that makes no one happy. But at least if you bump and run them right, you're happy.
Yeah, it's a good way to make people cranky. I highly doubt we'll see the Ross Chastain wall ride here. The corner's just a little bit too long.
Single file restart. Everybody tucked up on the outside. No passing on the inside before crossing the start-finish line. Westshire's gone away.
Yeah, he gone. At least early on in this one. Now, I would imagine something that's probably going to come into play pretty big here is, as we slide back, check out Nick Camargo and Jason Miller doing battle. Something we're probably going to have to put a little bit of thought into is how many heat cycles can these tires take? If we're going to beat them up at 0.5% or 1% a lap, you really don't want to heat cycle them then.
Yeah, that's going to make these tires really, really hard, and your grip problems you're seeing now are just going to get worse. The car's going to get more understeery, and then it's going to snap around on you with even less warning. Will not make for a fun time.
Well, it makes it a driver's track, that's for sure. So we saw Ben Carswell and Stephen C. Thompson doing battle. Jacob Jans, Dave Sparks, Simon Fell battling. This is 13th, 14th, and 15th on the racetrack. Oh, hold on to it. Simon almost put it up into the outside fence. Got to say a huge thank you to... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's get the thank you in here to everybody watching on YouTube and on Twitch. Make sure you give us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Who's your pick to win tonight? We can get your comments up on the screen here throughout the course of the night. And Kylo, let's get your drop in here.
Yeah, just picking up the battle between Jason Paydu, Michael Long, Jason Owens, and James Watson. These four cars have kind of tightened up. We'll see how difficult it is to get by here. Michael looks a little bit quicker than Jason, but needs to get a run and needs to get alongside him, which looks difficult to do early on in this run.
Yeah, and something seeing Jason Owens hanging out back here in 9th, James Watson back in 10th. You almost wonder, are they doing a little bit of tire conservation? You're talking about, it's a 95-lap run if you're going to make this a two-stopper. Potentially some strategy there to make it a three-stopper, benefit from the fresh tires. You're still talking about having to go 60 laps before you get there. This is a very long race.
50 minutes long, longer than most of the official iRacing sessions that you can drive in, and it's a real endurance race, especially with the limited fuel that they run. 50% of the natural fuel tank in these cars gives it about 22 liters, whatever that is in American Yankee dollars. Be known. Just looking though, I don't know if saving the tires might be the right call here, because these guys are almost 10 seconds, 9 seconds to Ben Carswell, and 7.5 seconds back to Stephen C. Thompson and James Watson. So you're losing a lot of time, short lap time here as well, about 16 seconds.
That was, by the way, about 5.6 gallons in freedom units, for those of you that don't use those funny European numbers. This battle here towards the back of the pack is pretty good. The Jason Paydu fight with Michael Long is side by side as well. Long finally going to be able to dive down to the inside. He'll clear Paydu off of turn number 2. The fight at the front of the field is starting to get a little bit interesting. Andrew Barry has closed this down to about 1/4 of a second. The deeper we get into this run, soon they're going to be hitting lap traffic as well. I believe that may be Rick Cleary is going to be the next car that they encounter.
Yeah, Andrew's been getting closer and closer, kind of hung in this pocket, though, of about 2 or 3 tenths behind and can't really get a run going and loses too much in the corners to gain anything. He's trying to take a little bit different line and a little bit different apex coming out of the corner exit to try and get the run, but it doesn't really amount to anything. And yeah, they're going to be catching Rick in about a lap or two here at this pace, just a couple seconds ahead of the leaders now.
The other big one that we're going to have to follow is if we get green flag pit stops, we are going to potentially have a mess. This racetrack, you absolutely have to enter the pits off of turn number 3 under green flag conditions. Under yellow, yes, you can get onto pit lane off of turn 4. But you'll see here, right where the apron starts to open up at turn 3, that's where these drivers are going to have to enter from. I watched Andrew Berry in practice four-wheel drift his car, basically go opposite lock and slide the entire way through 3 and 4. And he still got down to the pit lane speed limiter, it looked like. In and out of pit road is going to be crazy. There's a nasty bump exiting pit road, and you got to hold the apron all the way through turns 1 and 2. It really is a big penalty if you have to pit under green here.
It's a big risk, but you got to be efficient at it as well, because if everybody's going to do it, you want to be the best at it and get the most time out of it. First bit of lap traffic coming up here. Rick Cleary already 1 lap down. Next up is going to be Dave Sparks ahead of him. These guys up front running pretty similar lap times, though. 16.3 for Wes last lap. Most of the field running in the 16.6, 16.7 range. So the leaders are the quickest on track by a lot, and it is both of them. They are pulling away as they go through the traffic here.
Lap traffic getting out of the way of the leaders, which is a big thing. These guys, are all pretty darn good. Even when you're only talking about being a quarter second, maybe a half second back in race pace, it can be almost difficult to get out of the way. And I would imagine, Patrick, the big thing you want to see as the leader of the race is just hold your line. I'll get around you. I'm faster than you. I'll get around you. Just be predictable.
Yes, the biggest thing, if you're not confident as a lap car, just keep doing what you're doing. Run that bottom line and let the guys who are doing better at the track figure out how to get around you. Because when you try and switch it up, you become not only unpredictable, but your car may be uncontrollable as well.
Leaders just about nose to tail off of turn 2. Shire going to make the big dive down to the inside of Peter Donchak. Donchak in that Teo Fabi liveried car. I don't know that that's actually the Fabi car, because I don't think there was blue on the Teo Fabi car, but it's still fantastic. I like the
Benetton?
Yes,
like a 90s Benetton, maybe.
Yes, I say a very early 90s Benetton car. Gosh, I want to say 91, maybe 1990.
That sounds right. 90, 91, somewhere in there.
Tell you what, this fight's been good. So's this one. Brian Labarge and Nick Camargo. We'll give a little shout here to Brian Labarge. I think the SLS Moonshot may get off the ground here about 1:30 in the morning. Countdown is proceeding nominally, at least to this point. So hopefully we'll see that one happen a little bit later on this evening. Peter Donchak now fighting Dave Sparks. That fight is really tight. So's the battle for the race lead. A little bit of a gap now here for Wes Shire and Andrew Berry. Working 38 laps now on this stint. We're still not halfway through the first stint here. This is kind of crazy when you start to think about it. I guess the question becomes, if we get a yellow kind of now up to that, kind of somewhere in that 40 to 55, 60 lap window, do you stop and just know you're going to have to make an extra stop later in the race?
We'll see how long they go here, because at a certain point we could end up at an early 90s Bristol race where the entire field, bar a couple of cars, are 1 lap down. Because at current J.W. Miller in third place, comfortably in third place, is 4 seconds off the lead. And that's about a quarter of a lap here already that he's behind them. So this continues. He could even be a lap down by the end of it, depending on how the pit stops go.
I'll tell you what's really insane is the difference over the 15-lap average between Westshire and J.W. Miller is only 9/1000ths of a second. Over the 5-lap average, Wes is significantly quicker, as is Andrew Berry. But you get to the 10-lap and the 15-lap average, the numbers really start to close in a little bit here. I kind of like where J.W. Miller is sitting. If you're going to be best in class, that's not necessarily the worst place to be, is just kind of hanging out and let the race play into your hands.
And he may have a say in what people do in terms of strategy. If he tries to undercut and we see how much time you lose coming into the pits, if new tires can give you any more lap time, he might be the guy to do it. He's got a little bit of time to play with there. So maybe he makes the gamble and pits early and commits to a 3-stop.
Let's see. We'll slide back in the field a little bit here. Pick up Jason Miller, Mike Long, Jason Padu, Jason Owens. They are all nose to tail. Kind of the closest real battle on the racetrack right now. Another one starting to form up between James Watson and Stephen Thompson. But all in all, it's kind of like we have these little packs of cars that are spread out throughout the field. That's where things really become interesting, because you're running your own race, but then at some point you're going to have the leaders catching you, coming up to put you a lap down.
And there is no obligation to let leaders by when they pass you, as we see right now. Ben Carswell holding up Westshire for a lap or two here. He's been unable to get by. Looks like he's going to be able to dive down to the inside, and both will clear coming down the front straightaway. But once they catch up to those guys running for the top 5 positions, 5 through 8, and the latter part of the top 10 here, they're going to fight for it a little bit more, and they're going to be harder to pass. So we'll see how that shakes up the battle for the lead.
Let's take a look here. We'll pick up and go on board with Andrew Barry, carrying the number 1 as the defending champ of the series. Take a little bit of a listen to the engine noise here. You can kind of hear where he's on and off the throttle, feathers it a good bit through the corner as well.
You know what? That sounds like Andrew Berry is in cruise mode here with Westshire. very, very easy on the throttle. Nice, easy application. Not pushing the car too much. Keeping the back end straight on exit. That tells me Andrew's got a little bit more here, and maybe he can get by Wes, and he's just not trying too hard at the moment.
Just set the autopilot, make sure the yaw damper's on, and forget about it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Patrick, like that is a strategic element that you can possibly pursue, is if I don't have to push, if I can hang with him, I'll just sit here and not burn the tires off. I'm where I need to be, and I've got a little extra in reserve.
Exactly. It's the Elaine Prost strategy. If I don't need to lead every lap, I just need to lead the last one. So I'll sit here and wait, and I'll grab the lead by half a car length at the start-finish line. You don't need to go out there and put on a show.
J.W. Miller, by the way, with a great run early on in this race. Oh, man, his Owens got way loose off of turn number 4. May have even gotten a piece of the outside wall. Oh, and he almost clipped Stephen C. Thompson as well. Owens has got a handful right now.
Yeah, something happened to Jason Owens there. He did not like the exit of turn number 4 last time by. Going to lose the spot to James Watson. Move back up into the pack a little bit. Michael Long going to be on the inside there, making the move. That's going to be on Jason Miller. They got the lap traffic in front of them. I think that's Jacob Jans, who is just on the outside, going to force Jason in down to the bottom there. Michael going to pick up the spot.
Yeah, that's a good way to settle down the battle. Make the pass right before you get to the lap traffic, and you kind of force everybody to just kind of get in line. James Watson trying the outside on Jason Paydu. Watson's going to get that pass completed. That was a nice run there.
Yeah, Watson picking up a couple of spots here. He's up 5 in the race. Only one doing better than him right now, J.W. Miller in position number 3, up 5 as well. So we'll see how it goes here. Jason Owens and Stephen Thompson going at it as well. Jason trying to pick up the spots, but he keeps losing them, it looks like. Not doing too well on the tires here later on in the run.
Yeah, he's got to be feeling like he's hurting. Now, the one that's kind of getting interesting to me here is with...
Look who's in the back shot now here, guys.
Yeah, good Lord. There's race leader Wes Shire about to put 11th place Jason Paydu a lap down while these guys are fighting for position. This is where you kind of get into some nervous time as the race leader. The drivers will get warned with a blue flag, but it's not a command blue. It's not like you have to give the spot up. You're allowed to race and try to hold on to that spot. But looking at the math here, they've gone 64 laps. Everything I was hearing was this was potentially a 2-stop race. If they can get another 6 minutes out of this, ooh, buddy, that's tight.
That was super close on the back of Wes Shire. Wes is going to make it 3 wide at the bottom. Jason Owens in the middle. Man, I don't know. Did Andrew get some damage there? Got to take a look at that front wing and see. That was super close. Looks like he's still at speed, though.
Let's see. We'll get the look here. I think the front wing looks okay.
Looks good. It looks like he was able to get out of there with no damage done. He's just riding right up on the rear end of anyone that he comes across right now. He wants to go, I think, is the message here from Andrew Barry.
Yeah, you can't let Wes Shire get away. If you're going to be tight with him, and that's going to be part of the strategy, you absolutely have to stay with him. You can't lose him by a second and a half. The race leaders have now cleared Jason Owens, who runs in the 10th position. Just ahead is going to be Stephen C. Thompson. That will be next on the list for Wes Shire, and we are lapping cars inside the top 10 with 20 minutes down in this race. Just ahead of the race leaders, James Watson, Stephen C. Thompson battling. Oh, hold on to it. Thompson way loose off in turn number 2. That's going to allow Wes Shire to come past on the outside of the racetrack. That opens up the gap a little bit here between Shire and Andrew Barry. Oh, there's almost contact. Oh, Barry's in the wall.
Oh, no.
Here we go. Let's see. Is the PM18 strong enough? Can it keep going? It looks like it can.
I was going to
We'll
say,
see
the way
if the
he
meatball
turned down
comes
there.
out for him. It didn't look like that big of a hit, though.
He must have gotten it square, but now the question becomes, will there be required damage repair when he gets into the pit lane? If I remember correctly, the only way you're going to have required damage is if you get the meatball, there's required damage.
You can get suspension damage that is not meatball, and it will be optional repairs when you get into the pit lane. But it could be 30 seconds, it could be 3.5 minutes, depending on how big of a wall hit it was, and still be optional. So you can run with it. He is running with it, and he's not exactly slow. 16.4 flat, last lap by for Andrew Barry. He's still on pace here as leader Wes Shire tries to get around James Watson running in P8.
And Patrick, this is where it becomes really important for these guys to try to fight to stay on the lead lap if at all possible. You're coming up on a sequence of green flag pit stops. If you can get away with it and you stay out on the racetrack while the leader is on pit lane, you just bought yourself a free stop and a trip to the front of the field.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of luck to do. It's not something you can control, so it's not something I typically count on. But if I'm down and out, maybe looking for a little bit of luck, maybe willing to take a bet, absolutely. I will try and short pit and maybe get lucky with the caution.
Drivers have completed 78 laps here as Westshire comes around James Watson to put him a lap down. Also, Jason Miller going to go a lap down, and that's going to open up the fight here between Miller and Watson potentially, because Miller has to run a little bit higher lane in that Scotty McLaughlin Team Penske paint scheme.
And another critical thing, 2 cars now in between Westshire and Andrew Berry. So Wes has the green light. He's got to go here and make up the ground. Next up on the road is going to be, let's see, Rick Cleary is going to be next up on the road. He's already 1 lap down, and he's already out of the way. So he's got some track out of him.
Alex Teeter checking in saying just don't short pit by slamming the wall like the 17. Yeah, that's not the kind of short pit that you want to be doing. So drivers now working 82 laps. Westshire has led every one of them in what's been a dominant performance here at the front of the field. And like I said, everything I was hearing from these guys was that it was a 2-stop race. We're only a minute and a half away from this becoming a 1-stopper just past the halfway point.
Yeah, they've been going extremely well here on these tires, and I think that's just everybody finding their groove and not pushing it too hard. But we'll see here. Right as the clock's about to tick over, we should see these guys come in, currently running lap 85. So we thought the pit window was about 90 to 95 laps, so we'll see that here.
And Patrick, that's, I guess that some of the strategy element kind of goes out the window once you hit this point. Now you know you got to go. Other than if you think you can stretch it a couple of laps longer than the leader, there really is no incentive to not pit as soon as the window opens here.
Yeah, I mean, right as we're approaching halfway, you pit now, you make it a 1-stop race. So I don't see any reason to wait around. Trying to do the math in my head, and it's just not working. Just pit once and you're good.
Yeah, those are the kind of races that I can handle driving. Can I get to halfway? Great. I don't have to think. Just get me to halfway and then we'll be good.
Back before there were all these SDKs and other crazy stuff to calculate your fuel for you, I used to race with a TI-84 graphic calculator on my lap. And I would practice all before the race. I would do the full-length NIS races. Practice all before, actually write in fuel curves for it, and then write in another curve for my tire wear, and kind of follow those throughout the race, and go up and down the graph trying to figure out when I should pit, depending on when the caution came out, or... Oh, yeah.
You took nerd to an entirely different level.
Oh, I know.
Good on you, though. That's pretty impressive.
You think texting and driving is hard? That's only words. Start putting variables and algebra in it. It gets tricky.
Ben Carswell looking inside of Jason Paydu. He'll get the pass completed. Jason Owens just up the road here. This is going to be 11th, 12th, and 13th. To tell you what the depth of this field is, Ben Carswell is inside the top 15 overall in the PM18 out of Division 5. Jason Owens is no slouch. One of the best on ovals in the PM18. Andrew Berry, one of the best on ovals in the PM18. This field is stacked, deep, and quite frankly, what Wes and Andrew were doing tonight is just absolutely incredible.
It shows who's done their homework, I think. If you look over the past week or so, you guys talking about setup changes and practicing has been those two. And most people are running their setups, so it'll wouldn't surprise me to see that they're the fastest out there.
Well, and here's the cool thing. There is a big-time prize on the line here. It's a participation award. You got to run 14 of 16 races. West Shire is actually building what the trophy is going to be. It is a custom watch, hand-built by West Shire, specifically for an iRacing type person. It has a GMT hand on the watch, so you can keep track of, because iRacing does all their servers in GMT time. You can actually keep track of when you need to be on the racetrack just by looking at your wrist. It's going to be pretty darn cool. Andrew Berry on pit lane was running second. J.W. Miller, James Watson are also in.
Is GMT time just like an ATM machine?
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
I wasn't sure where it was going either. Okay, we'll see.
Okay,
This time.
automated teller machine, ATM machine, so it's an automated teller machine. Here's West Shire on pit lane. Greenwich Mean Time, GMT time. Anyway, thank you for calling out my idiocy. Race leader is on pit lane. Shire hits the marks cleanly. Car up on the jacks, down and away. He's clean. Brian Labarge, Simon Fell on pit lane. Now the question becomes, where is Andrew Berry? And it's not even going to be close. There's West Shire exiting turn number 4. And there's Andrew Berry just at the start-finish line. It is a huge gap, 2.4 seconds that West Shire opened up over Andrew Berry. See if we can see where the time difference was. The stop time for West Shire, 6.85 seconds to 7.68 for Andrew Berry. Time on pit lane, just slightly longer though. 26.23 for Shire, 27.15 for Andrew Berry. So it was almost entirely in the pit stop where that extra second came from.
That's all it needed, and maybe he did have a little bit of damage there. Had to change something, had a second of optionals or something, because his crew was having a bad day and didn't give him that extra jump they needed. They lost him about a second. The gap does go up here, and it's coming down now, though. Down to 2 seconds flat now that they're starting to run again here. Looks like everybody made it in well clean, though, guys. So we could see the rest of the race running green here. And this is the one thing we did not consider, that early caution. How many laps did that add to this first stint? Because we could be very close come to the end of the race now.
And Andrew Berry almost getting it into the wall once again. By the way, up to 4th place, Brian Labarge is now a lap down. We are down to J.W. Miller, Andrew Berry, and West Shire on the lead lap of this race. I can't foresee them coming in to the pits for any reason. We are absolutely at this point fighting for best in class, and it looks like it might be J.W. Miller.
Yeah, he made up the spots early and kind of just broke away, got a couple second gap on anybody he was racing. And in fact, it's now up to almost 7 seconds, the gap between J.W. Miller and Brian Labarge in 4th. So we'll see if he continues that way. His speed has just been consistent. That's all it needs to be to keep up 3rd place and keep that podium spot. It doesn't matter really if you're 2 laps down if you still get on that podium.
Hard charger of the race to this point will be the 256 of Simon Fell. We'll get a look at Simon here on the close-up for just a minute. Simon up 7 from where he started this race. Biggest loser of the night, Alex Teeter making fun of himself in the comments, down 14 after that early incident. Pick up Stephen Thompson and James Watson as these guys are going to continue their battle. This is the fight for the 7th position. Interesting kind of on James Watson here. May not be the guy who goes out and tries to win a championship by winning and dominating every race. He's a willpower fanboy, epic fanboy, and he kind of runs a similar strategy to what we saw Power run this year. just podium the hell out of them. Stay towards the front of the field. Don't make a ton of mistakes. And that's really what could put you up towards the head of the line when it comes to championship.
Yeah, especially in a straight points format like every racing series in the world except NASCAR. Consistency is what matters. Again, the Elaine Prost strategy. If I've only got to finish second this race, all I'm going to try for is second. There's no reason to go for first.
One of the interesting things about the TNT Shock season is this is a long one. I can remember it seemed like yesterday I was saying I can't believe we're talking about racing in December. Well, how about talking racing until Memorial Day weekend? One more race coming up in the month of November. That'll be at the Milwaukee Mile on November 29th. 2 races in December at Motegi Oval and the Motegi East layout that we've saw in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship on the official side. 2 races in January, Richmond and 5 Flags. 2 in February, 2 in March, 2 in April, 3 in May. I kind of like the way this shakes out a little bit because it doesn't lock, it's a long season, but it doesn't lock you into, I have something every Tuesday night.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, especially I built my series, the Fastmaster series, on top of the PM18 series, where every oval race, we run one of my races after. So I was kind of looking at the dates going, holy crap, how long am I going to be running this thing for?
Jason Owens, Ben Carswell battling wheel to wheel. Good Lord, boys, keep it straight.
Oh man, a little bit of contact there. They all make it away scot-free though.
Yeah, Fastmaster's coming up right at the conclusion of this race. Tell everybody about that one, Patrick. That series is absolutely fantastic. Is it now a mix of GT3 cars or just one GT3?
It is just the BMW Z4. We're doing the Speedway series, so all tracks 1.3 miles or larger. So we're racing at our shortest track tonight, Nashville, which I feel like is going to be the only track you're going to need to lift at. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Oh, big contact! Owens into the wall, as is Carswell. Caution is out. Yellow flag on the racetrack for just the second time tonight. It's going to be Jason Owens and Ben Carswell.
Just as we talk about sports cars, known sports car hater, Ben Carswell takes out the guy who owns the series.
I think that may have been a little bit of Jason Owens there. Let's take a look here and follow this one along. These guys were battling tight through turns 1 and 2. Oh, just a little bit of a squeeze up. I don't know that there was anything either one of those guys could have done differently other than lift.
Yep, lifting definitely would have helped Ben there, I think. That was Jason's corner. Lewis was ahead, Max, so you gotta make sure you're in the corner. It's unfortunate. Those guys, looks like Jason is going to be able to continue, or did he take the full tow? No, he is still running. He looks like he's got it going, so he might just have a front wing change. Which,
yep, both cars are running. In fact, they're pitted nose to tail with each other on pit lane. So Carswell and Owens are both going to be good here. And how about it? Andrew Berry is on pit lane. I like this call. Giving up.
The thing this will do is it will put the traffic in between them. The traffic does not move out of the way, so every car in between Andrew Berry and West Shire is one he's got to get around here on track as they go.
I wonder if is there a time limit rule on that? If you're inside of a certain amount of time,
There is not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they did it last year, but there is no rule about that this year. It's always they will stay in line.
All right, we need Michael Massey here to get certain cars out of the way. Rules and regulations be damned. Absolutely nobody in between West Shire and the pace car as well, so there will be no wave arounds. Let's see if we can't talk to Andrew Berry here under the caution flag.
Lights are out on the pace car, so...
Okay, yeah, we'll take him back. We'll put him back to where he was. That is an interesting call. I guess if you're thinking the only way you were going to be able to get past him, maybe? Especially if you already had a bunch of lap traffic there.
This is the entire field again here, so Westshire up on the field. The only other car in the race really with him on the lead lap is going to be Andrew Berry, who I believe is the 8th car in line, 9th car in line here as they get going. Back under green flag, just over 12 minutes to go here in the shock.
A fantastic restart for Westshire. He opened the gap that he needed to. Looking back, we've got caution on the racetrack once again. It's trouble for J.W. Miller. Trouble for J.W. Miller. James Watson may have gotten a piece of that as well. And this is absolutely not what Andrew Berry wanted to see. Let's take a look here. Oh, just a little bit of a loop for J.W. Nice evasive driving for James Watson. Let's show you that one from Sir Watson's onboard here.
I can hear Watson doing a scream in my head. Oh!
Hopefully
he saved it. Watson is a fantastic driver.
Hopefully he didn't pick up any damage in the process. But this puts us back under the yellow flag. This, Kylo, is really something that Andrew Berry did not want to see. Laps under caution are laps where he is not making up any ground.
Oh, he's not getting to use his new tires, and Wes is saving that little bit of fuel that he might have needed to get to the end. 2 cautions now on that second tank. Should be good enough to get everybody to the end that stopped under green flag conditions.
Gap currently sitting at about 4 seconds. Let's take a look here. Try and get you the view from the overhead here. Let's slide back and pick up. There's Andrew Berry coming off at turn number 2. It is a long ways to Westshire here at the head of the field. 6 cars going to be separating the 2 race leaders as we come back to green.
There's currently a town hall debate going on whether you should change and get brand new tires or stay on your old ones because they're fine. I'll let you guess who is indicating for which side there. But we'll see how it goes here. Last little stretch of this race. We're running out of time now, down to, what is it, just under 10 minutes now. So got really push time for Andrew Berry. He's just losing time here. Time series, not a lap count series. So at 50 minutes, the race will be over.
Seeing the text chat coming in from Jason Owens saying, this just got spicy with West trying to hold the field a lap down instead of fresh tires. Man, I don't know. I don't see any reason to come in if you're Westshire. Andrew Berry's already stopped. You're going to give up the lead to him, plus all the cars that would be in between you when you come out of the pits. I don't see any reason to.
He only did 20 laps on those tires before that caution came out. They just went in for green flag stops. We'll see how it goes. Green flag's out there here, and 8 minutes, 55 seconds to go, starting of lap 134.
Westshire's gone. Let's pick up Andrew Berry. Yeah, he is in full hustle mode here. Oh, and there's contact! One car up into the outside wall. That's going to bring out another caution. Berry will be just ahead of Simon Fell.
And Berry needs to not be making these cautions for himself. This is a timed race, so it takes precious time off the race.
Yeah, I mean, and this one, quite frankly, feels a little bit needless. I mean, I get that Barry had to go, but that was about as close to Punterino as you're going to get without actually, like, trying to punt someone.
I mean, if he would have just stayed behind, he might have lost 30 seconds. Now sitting under this caution, he's losing, what, 4 minutes out of these 8 minutes that are remaining in the race? That one's gonna hurt.
Yeah, you're talking losing a ton of time here with these caution flags. Attrition becoming a factor here as well. Up to 13th place, Jacob Jans on pit lane. He may be done for the night. Ben Carswell and Jason Owens definitely are. Rick Cleary in 16th is the lowest car running right now. Alex Teeter out of the race, as is Zach Nurenberger and Peter Donchak, joining Carswell and Owens. Still 12 of the 19 starters remaining on the racetrack. And Andrew Berry is stuck. I think, yeah, it's still 5 cars. He only got past 1 in the span of 3.5 minutes or so when you factor in the caution time. Not the way this is playing out if you're Andrew Berry here, Kylo.
Definitely not looking like the right strategy call to pit there when the caution first came out. I think he had to copy whatever West did, and or really, I mean, copy whatever West did, or just stay out because again, only 20 laps on the tires, and where that they were able to do on that first stint showed they can do 95 laps on the tires. So West didn't feel the need to come down pit road, and neither did the cars behind him either. So that's why Andrew Berry's stuck right now with about 5 or 6 cars in his way, and he's just running out of time now. Almost less than 5 minutes now to go in this race here, and it's very hard to overtake, clearly, as he's tried to show.
Well, Ben Carswell and Jason Owens are not out of this race. 8 minutes and 49 seconds of repair time for Carswell, 8 minutes and 50 seconds for Jason Owens. They're going to be nose to tail, multiple laps down, 19 to be specific. As the green flag goes back in the air, one more time, y'all go ahead and crank it up. Andrew Berry trying to work his way through traffic, still sitting about 2 1/3 seconds back of West Shire with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. And at this point, Patrick, I think the problem maybe becomes getting to him is one thing, passing's another. Yeah, Berry again hit the wall. Oh man, he may have done it again off of turn 4.
Yeah, how long it's going to take him to get up to West? His tires are going to be just as bad as Wes's. I mean, the tires eventually level off at a point until they just fall off a cliff. So by the time he gets there, they're going to be on equal ground anyway.
No, at this point, you almost wonder, Kylo, is discretion the better part of valor here? If you're Andrew Berry, just settle in and say, I'll take second. That's a good points night.
He doesn't have a choice, really. Wes has pulled away, and Andrew is not going anywhere. Down to 2.6 seconds the gap now in this track of 3 cars that are battling for the final podium spot. Brian Labarge, Michael Long, Steven Thompson. The cars in between our top 2 are battling for 3rd position here. So that's really the battle to watch here, as we have 3 minutes, 33 seconds remaining.
absolutely insane, the performance that we've seen out of Westshire here this evening. The car has just been flat dominant. Homestead Coffee Roasters Tales from Rukon on the side of that number 16 machine. He wants his championship back. 3-time champion of the TNT Shock Series. Going full Oisin Walsh here tonight. That's a throwback to several seasons ago for those of you that might have been following for that long. But Oisin used to do stuff like this. Lead every lap and absolutely cream the field in the process. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Following along now with Jason Miller and J.W. Miller battling for the 6th position. Hard charger of the race now, Simon Fell up 9 to run in the 8th position. Oh, buddy, they're almost making contact through 1 and 2.
These guys are pushing for it, trying to get whatever they can here. This will be for position number 6 on the racetrack. J.W. Miller on the inside, Jason Miller on the outside. Through turn 2 they go.
Whoa.
That's very clean racing from the two of them. Jason's going to take the advantage into 3.
This is getting silly here. Good Lord. Fantastic battle between Jason Miller and J.W. Miller. Nick Camargo going to work on James Watson. That's happening just back of these cars with Simon Fell in the middle. Jason Owens is back on pit lane multiple times now at this point. I don't think there's really much ground that Owens is going to be able to gain. As the Miller boys, oh, they're making contact! Big wreck down the back straightaway, and that may end it.
You can't park there.
That is going to end it. With only a couple of minutes left in the session and about 5 pace laps to do, the Miller boys colliding. It means Westshire is going to be the winner this week. Unbelievable drive from West, just dominating, leading all but probably 3 or 4 laps of this race.
Take a look at the replay here of what happened in turns 1 and 2. Very similar to the incident that took out Owens and Carswell. Hopefully Jason Miller's head is okay. With J.W. Miller landing on top of him as they come off of turn number 2. Andrew Berry got close, but not close enough. Still with a lap car separating the two of them. And now down to 30 seconds remaining in the race. Just a couple of pace laps left here for Westshire.
And let's just bring it up because we've talked about him all night. Both of those Miller boys crashing out. Simon Fell gains another 2 spots, up 11 into number 6 now. Great night for Simon. James Watson just behind him in 7th. He's up 6 spots as well. Good recovery from him after that average qualifying session from him earlier in the night.
Fifth caution of the night, and it will be the final one as Westshire is going to claim victory here in the TNT Shock Series, round number 2 at the new Smyrna Speedway. The official gap is going to say about 1.2 seconds when they cross the line. 5 cautions on the night and a dominating performance for Westshire, leading all 157 laps that they turned here this evening. That was impressive. Absolutely fantastic run tonight out of Westshire. Checkered flag will go in the air this time by Shire gets the win over Berry. And how about it? Nice run tonight as well. Let's get a little focus on Brian Labarge in the number 8. Good run for Brian. Started 3rd, qualified well, ran well in practice, had that car up at the front of the field all night long.
Hell yeah. That was a fun one tonight.
It had some elements of strategy, kind of had a little bit of everything.
And you know what? We didn't think they would do it, but they went almost 120 laps without a caution there early on in the race. And we had a full green flag cycle and everything. So that was really good and another really interesting race to watch here. These longer races and that pit strategy, they change up these PM18 races. A little bit different from the officials that you can watch this Thursday night. The PM18 Indy Pro 2000 official series.
That's called a segue right there, people. Absolutely nailed it. West Shire going to park that machine in victory lane. The winner by 1.048 seconds over Andrew Berry. That one coming under caution. Brian Labarge finishing third, a lap down. He smoked everybody here tonight. Michael Long, Stephen C. Thompson completing your top 5. 6 through 10 going to be Simon Fell, James Watson, Nick Camargo, J.W. Miller, and Jason Miller. Both of those drivers only finishing one lap down because of when the incident happened. Dave Sparks, Jason Padu, Ben Carswell, Jason Owens, and Jacob Jans back to the 15th position. 16 through 19 will be Rick Cleary, Peter Donchak, Alex Teeter, and Zach Nurenberger. Race that took, 50 minutes to run because it's a 50-minute time series. Fantastic look at your podium there on the front straightaway, and now it's time for us to start getting ready for the victory lane interviews. Let's see who we can pull up here to talk to. Don't see Brian Labarge yet, but we'll get the replays squared up here. Give Brian a second to get in the room. And West Shire, such a gentleman. Does the burnouts, does the donuts, and still manages to pull the car down into the pit stall. You're a nice guy there, West Shire. All right, let's bring him up.
Nobody wanted to celebrate with them, so he had to drive the car back to them.
Yes, that's right. Nobody coming out to party. The crew was not willing to push West Shire back, so he had to drive it in. Wes, congratulations, an absolutely dominating drive here tonight. That was impressive, maybe the word. I don't know that you possibly could have seen dominance of this level coming with how tight everybody was.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I was expecting to just run like 7th all night. I was astounded when I got pole, and even more astounded when I just sort of started driving away. That was very much the last thing I expected there.
And this one's going to be big in terms of trying to defend or at least reclaim a championship that you want back from Andrew Berry. You're going to have those nights where you're going to take your drop weeks and some of those kinds of things, but this is really big to pick up a win at a place that was difficult to drive. The setups seemed like were a little bit twitchy. This was big in terms of a championship, even if it's only the second race of the season.
Yeah, particularly after the disaster that was last one. Iowa was,
What are you talking about, Wes?
to say the least.
Iowa was only qualifying, wasn't it?
Yes. We never raced. They definitely did not have an accident lap 1. Yeah.
Talk us through the night a little bit here, because there was talk of up to 1% a lap in tire wear, and you guys were getting 80-plus laps in. How sketchy was it to keep control of these things, or was it a little bit easier than you might have expected?
So we were definitely anticipating significantly worse tire wear coming into this. Getting into the session, we did find a little bit better than we were anticipating, closer to 0.6, 0.7 percent per lap tire deg. However, I sort of found something halfway through the first stint, foot-wise. That very much helped me save tires. So at the end of that first stint, I was still above 50% right front.
That's big, and quite frankly, that's kind of what I think set you and Andrew apart. It's not often we see in this league that almost everybody is a lap down. How do you manage that? Like, you're fighting traffic the whole time, putting multiple people multiple laps down, and fighting through their own individual battles as well.
Before Wes says anything, I have a speculation that he bought a blood transfusion, Lance Armstrong style, from O'Sheen Walsh.
I can neither confirm nor deny that none of that actually took place because, quite frankly, that was Andrew's set.
That's hilarious.
So insult to injury there. The set he shared for all of us. I just went, I'll give it a try, and I went 3/10 faster. It's like, okay. I know what we're doing tonight. Yeah,
really. I know what game we're playing. All right, bud. Well, congratulations. A fantastic win to kick off, well, I guess the second round, since you guys aren't counting round number 1 either. Great win to really light your season off here. Congratulations, and before we let you go, get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Yeah, as always, thank you for putting on the broadcast. It's good to be back up here talking to you guys, particularly after last week. And, of course, a big shout-out to Homestead Coffee for just everything that they do to keep me functional throughout my entire life. And shout-out to my other life as a D&D live streamer over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Tales from Rukon, Friday nights at 7:30, meaning we are usually live closer to 8. But that's a good time. And, yeah, doesn't matter if you're not caught up on stuff, because we're only doing one-shots now.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Well, good stuff. Great storytelling on that, by the way. So check that one out. Twitch.tv/Tales from Rukon. Wes, thank you very much. Congratulations. We appreciate you there. And let's bring in our runner-up finisher here tonight. A guy who was, quite frankly, fantastic all night long. I got to ask you about the strategy call to come in and take tires at that, I guess, next to last caution. Was that kind of the end of it for you? It seemed like it was just too many cars to pass in too little time.
Yeah, it was kind of a last-ditch effort. I couldn't get by Wes at all that first stint when I was trying to get by, and there were a couple opportunities that I probably could have made the pass, but it's hard to pass here. I had trouble getting past cars that were not running nearly my pace. So I think it was kind of inevitable that I was going to come in second. It was just a matter of whether or not I was going to be 3 seconds back or right on his tail.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that you couldn't get past him in that first stint because we were on board with you at one point, and it seemed like you were kind of in cruise control, and I think it was either Kylo or Patrick, one of the two of them said, it almost seemed like you had something held in kind of in reserve. It's what you're saying is that wasn't the case. It was just a matter of you just couldn't get past them.
I tried to get a run on a couple. There was a point where I did go back into cruise control, but I was trying for a while to get a run, and I think there was probably one opportunity I had for that when he stumbled over some lapped cars. I think Jason was one of them, but yeah, I didn't really have. There was not really much of a shot at all, so I think I did all I could, and I think it was probably one in qualifying, unfortunately.
Well, I tell you what, great race tonight. Thank you very much for putting on a fantastic show here towards the front of the field. And before we let you go, get all the sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of.
Yep, just thanks to everyone who's hosting and putting on the broadcast.
All right, bud. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you checking in with us here, and let's see if we can't find Mr. Brian Labarge here very quickly, our third place finisher here tonight. Best in class, I guess is the way to say it. Congratulations, a very quiet run for you tonight in those NASA colors.
Thank you very much.
Talk us through the night, because we're kind of bouncing through the field, picking up people in different places, and we called you out for the NASA scheme, but other than that, it kind of was like you were just kind of in cruise control as well. You started third. You ran good in practice. How was the night from inside the driver's seat?
Mildly terrifying at all times. Because, everybody here, and I've said this to a bunch of people on, Discord and whatnot, like I have a lot of respect for everybody here. There's a lot of aliens here. Like, I mean, Wes and Andrew are just stupid fast. So I just wanted to, not be that guy who qualifies third, bins it on lap 4, and wrecks the whole field. Because when I saw my qualifying time, I was like, oh shit, I'm out of place. I don't belong here.
Ryan,
So-
don't worry. I'll take that mantle. Qualified pole and wrecked the half the field last week. Don't worry about that. You'll never be as bad as me. You can rest
All right.
easy knowing that.
All right, well that's good. Yeah. So aside from that, like I knew I wasn't going to catch either one of them. If I could hang with them, great, fantastic. But I really I wanted to survive, and if I could get a top 10 out of it, fantastic. But yeah, I was not expecting this at all.
Well, I tell you what, it was a very nice run for you. Going to move you up 4 positions to 4th in points after 2 rounds. That's impressive. Heck of a run for you tonight. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous taken care of.
Thank you. Let's see. Thank you to family, friends. I don't know if I'm gonna. Well, I might send this to a couple people who may actually watch it, but yeah, no sponsors to thank other than I guess NASA and NRN. I mean, yeah, independent guy here.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, we appreciate you checking in with us here, and man, that one was a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, Kylo, is we'll head back to the live look here as Mr. Byrne has had to take off to run the Fastmasters series, so we won't get any final thoughts from him. But as usual, TNT shock races, some action at the front, a lot of action throughout the field, and ultimately a couple of guys at the front that you kind of expected to be there.
Yeah, leaders battling it out the whole race. Lots of mid-pack action and strategy all in it. Seems every one of these shock races we've run gets this same kind of formula, and it works really well as a spectacle, I think. The difference in what people thought we were going to be running in practice to what actually happened, I think, was the biggest change. Everybody thinking it's a 2-stop and the tires are going to die and all this. It really didn't matter that much, it looks like, because everybody was pretty good, and we just had some sort of racing incident kind of stuff on track that brought out some cautions instead of pit lane drama or anything like that. So another good week here, and we'll see what happens in the next in 2 weeks' time when we go to Milwaukee, I believe it is.
Yep, Milwaukee is going to be fun. A place a little bit like this, practically board flat. Ben Carswell checking in saying, what a blast, challenging racetrack. Yes, this one was fun tonight. We're looking forward to what's coming up the rest of this week here on the National Racing Network as well. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, going to be the Sim Racers Club, followed up on Thursday by the Ezra IndyCar Series and the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. It's Oval Week, so we'll have James Watson doing in-car color commentary from the Iowa Speedway. I can't believe it. We're already down to just a couple of races left to go in the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. But
we'll see if I can go for 3 for 3 on the ovals this year. Let's see if we can do it. Last season with 3 ovals.
Kylo is shooting for 3 for 3 on the broadcast, and quite frankly, actually, the points battle is getting a little bit spicy in that one too, but we'll talk more about that one on Thursday night. With that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. This one was fun, and we got a whole lot more coming up this week. For Kylo Ciacelli, Patrick Byrne, and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.